Hello and welcome back to Buckeye Mike. Welcome in for another awesome video today. In this one, we're doing an interview with the great Jalen Dennis, who's a defensive back from Missouri Southern State University. He was a 3-year captain. In that 3 years, he accumulated 10, 100 tackles. Let me get it right. No disrespect. 6 interceptions in 2 years of playing on defense. Originally, he was at Carthage College and he played quarterback and wide receiver. Then he moved to D where he really began to shine. Moving between nickel and strong safety when he moved to D, his speed and 5'11", 200-pound size makes him a great force on the field. So with all of that being said, let me go ahead and bring him in for everybody.
What's going on, guys? How you doing?
Doing
Appreciate
good.
the second guy on here. It's going to be the best one. Let's do it.
All right. So, does having any experience at quarterback make it enticing to be a DB in today's game?
100%. I think, especially with today's football and how it's played schematically and everything, I think it plays a huge role and a huge advantage for the defensive side of the ball. First, starting off with, as a quarterback, you have to pick up on a lot of little things on the defensive side. So, for instance, the nickel split, how far is he split out? If he's a little tighter, that might mean he's coming and somebody's rolling down, or the safety levels, or when you look inside the box, are the linebackers wider? Because if they're wider, one of them might blitz, and just a whole bunch of stuff like that. So translating it to defense pre-snap, I'm looking at the quarterback and looking exactly at what he's looking at, if that makes sense, to try to pick up and understand what he's trying to accomplish before the snap, with understanding coverages and things like that, and finding different ways to disguise them to kind of put him in a bind. So post-snap, if we roll to something else or show the look that we're actually running, it forces him to second guess, and therefore that little split hesitation can lead to sack, mistiming throws, things like that. So I definitely think in today's game, for sure, it plays a huge advantage, and it's definitely a good way to transition from offense to defense, for sure.
What was your recruiting process like?
Coming out of high school or during college?
Both, but let's start with out of high school.
Okay. Out of high school is pretty hectic, I'm not gonna lie. So I had a offer from Western Illinois. I was gonna get an offer from Missouri State, and a bunch of other schools like Ball State, Miami of Ohio, schools like that. And then so my ACT, I didn't do very well on it. So I had to retake it. And during that time, this was kind of like towards the back half of when schools were coming in and handing out offers and stuff like that. And my grades were fine, but it was the ACT that kind of put me in a tough spot. So I had to retake it. And I was telling the coaches, like, Coach, like, I'm going to do a really good job on it. Like, I just need you to trust me and have faith, and I'll make sure to come through. And I did. I ended up getting a 21. But it was just kind of too late at the time, so I kind of lost my offers. I lost my offer from Western Illinois, and then the preferred walk-on spots, I lost those as well. And so I kind of was in touch with this kid, Brock Rudder, from North Central College, and me and him were very in touch, got very close pretty quick. He was the quarterback over there. So I took a visit to North Central College. I loved it, and eventually I just committed from there. Just really wanted to have the opportunity to play. Didn't matter the level to me. So when I went there, I played a year there. I was able to start at receiver and have a quarterback package as well. Played around a lot of great guys over there, and then I was able to transfer over to Carthage College, where my brother was at the time, my older brother, Jalen Dennis. And So I had to sit out a year because it was in the same conference. And so that was it was very tough, but I tried to use it to my advantage, especially because I wanted to switch over to play quarterback instead of receiver. So I kind of had to get back in my quarterback mentality because I played quarterback in high school, and high school to college quarterback is way different and way more advanced, and things like that. So I really used that time to meet with the offensive coordinator and kind of just get accumulated back to quarterback and how to read a defense and what to pick on and things like that. So I was able to do that, had a productive year there. And then that following year, I was able to play quarterback and then receiver as well, at times, because we had pretty good quarterbacks in the room as well. And then so I played that year offense. And then this is right around when COVID hit. COVID happened. We lost a lot of DBs on the defense side of the ball. So our head coach came to me, asked me to move to defense. I did that to help the team. And I was it was tough. I was in the middle of how I felt about it because I loved offense. Ever since I was a little kid, offense was just my side of the ball. I thought I was really good at it. But little did I know defense was my true home. And so when I went over there, it was kind of I had to learn how to backpedal again and brakes and everything, like angles, all that stuff. So it was a hard transition, but as the transition went on, I progressively got better and I started feeling more comfortable. And I was able to start at strong safety. And then this is still during COVID. We are only allowed to play 2 games. They moved me to free safety, and I did really well there. And I was coming down like a strong safety. So then that full season after, they moved me down to nickel. And then I was able to have a really good year, played with a lot of great guys there as well. And then when I hopped in the portal, this was probably the craziest recruitment I've had ever in my career. I probably had, no exaggeration, probably 25 to 30 schools contact me. A good amount were smaller D1 schools, but majority of them were D2. And that process was very tough. And so during the time, I only had a year left. And so with a lot of schools, they want guys who have, 2 years, 3 years, who have time they can work with the kid, develop him, get accumulated to the system, things like that. And so during that time, I had a year left, and it was tough because some schools liked it, some schools didn't. It was very kind of short conversations because I had a year left. But I was able to find a good amount of schools that wanted to take the risk and give me the opportunity to play in my last year, and I was able to get in contact with their head coaches, things like that. And then kind of how I got to Missouri Southern, I knew Mitch Lepke since my junior year of high school. He recruited me, and we've always had a very tight relationship. Even when he was recruiting me and I committed to other schools, he was still around and kept in touch and stuff like that. And so we kind of picked up where we left off, showed me the facilities, stuff like that, and kind of ended up at Missouri Southern, and the rest is history.
So you've experienced both sides with NIL, haven't you?
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit of what that was like pre-NIL and what it's like for you now with NIL, and maybe the advantages and disadvantages?
Yeah, for sure. So from my perspective, I would say, so pre-NIL, it's hard, especially as a college athlete. I mean, you don't have that much time to go find a job. You have school, you have practice, you have lifts, you have study tables, all that stuff. So it's kind of hard to really go find a job and find opportunities to make money. And so during that time, I was just able to find little jobs within the coach's office and helping out with recruiting and stuff like that. just to make a little extra money on the side. But then when NIL started coming around, I only had a couple offers to participate in NIL deals. Um, but I mean, it was a great experience. It's a great experience, I think, because it helps promote yourself, promote what you do on a day-to-day basis. And as athletes, we do take a big part in um, kind of having a hectic college experience and trying to find ways to promote the positives in it and being able to be a positive influencer, whether that's on social media through your NIL deal, whatever the case may be. I think that's a great opportunity to take, and it holds a lot of responsibility. So throughout the NIL deals, I think nowadays it's good for players because they're able to make money, but also they're able to be a positive influence to younger generations as well.
Makes sense. So what specifically drew you to Missouri Southern? I know you mentioned about like having a relationship with the coach.
Yeah.
What else outside of the relationship with the coach drew you to Missouri Southern?
So for me, I think it's two things. The first thing is when I reached out to a couple of the players on the team, um, they're very straightforward, which I really like, especially like the position I was in. I only had a year left to play, and I wanted to make sure I was going somewhere, where it's a team atmosphere and guys really push each other to get better and stuff like that. And so when I reached out to those guys, they gave me that vibe and energy. Excuse me, off rip, and so I really liked that, and it really attracted me. Like, take the coaches aside, like when you put those players on the field, it's them talking, communicating, playing for each other, playing with each other, and so that really was a positive for me. And then another thing too is just the conference. The conference it's really good football, and my first like couple practices there and stuff like that, I'm playing with kids who went to Virginia Tech, Vanderbilt, a lot of big time schools, and the competition it's good, it's very good. And so I wanted to be around an atmosphere where I had no choice, but my game had to reach another notch, and I had to meet the expectations and then surpass them. So that was another thing that really brought me to that conference, and just the football that they play and the competition. It's really good overall.
So you mentioned earlier about the transition from offense to defense. So what was that transition like? Was there a lot of rough patches for you? Was it harder? I think you might have mentioned this earlier, but does being on the defensive side, are you able to kind of read the offense and kind of almost guess what they're going to run based on the way that they're set up? Because I know you went into detail about like from the quarterback perspective.
Yeah.
What can you tell from the defensive side perspective?
Well, so for the defensive side, I think it comes down to one, how much film you watch. And I know for me, I'm a visual learner, so me watching film is very important. And so for me, it's the film. So basically checking out, splits, lineman splits. Let's start. Okay. So if the tackle and guard are a little tighter together, but then you look to the other side and you see the center and guard, and the guard is like, you could tell a little back off the center, then there might be a double down action with the pull or anything like that. So really trying to lock in on the lineman splits. And then when you expand out to the receiver, or first, let me finish the core. So you got the quarterback, whether he's in shotgun, under center, what plays they like under that stuff, and then running back, stance and alignment. So is he a little split out over the tackle? If he is, okay, he might be coming out to the flat or running some type of route towards the outside. And then when I look at receivers, so slot, is he inside on the hash, outside the hash? The outside receiver, is he towards the bottom of the numbers, top of the numbers, middle of the numbers? And then kind of just going through film and eliminating routes that I know aren't for sure not coming. And then once I see, okay, anytime he is at the top of the head or the top of the numbers, he's running a big post. So now I can start picking up on those little cues that receivers give. And if he wants to line up at the bottom, other numbers, then he's running something else. And it's just all those little cues that I'm able to pick up that offenses are trying to give spacing concepts or whatever type of high-low concepts they're trying to accomplish. Receivers tend to give something away. You just have to be very cued in on what they're trying to give away. But to the first question you asked, the transition was very tough. It was extremely tough. I think especially at the college level, you know, you're going against guys, whether it's Division III.
Mm-hmm. Uh-oh. Well, looks like he had a malfunction. Yep. Well, that was definitely interesting. I'll keep going to see if he'll come back. It's definitely nice to get a perspective of these smaller schools and just how much harder these guys have to work. Um, you know, the D2, D3 NAIA guys are not afforded the same kind of things that, you know, guys at Ohio State, USC, Florida, Bama, Georgia, North and South Dakota State, James Madison, Marshall. I mean, even a school like Marshall has more accessible to their athletes than a school such as Missouri Southern State. It's bigger, even though it's not like super bigger. It's more well known. You know, these Division II, Division III NAIA schools are all kind of hidden and just randomly put in places, so to speak. I mean, you know, we talked to Todd earlier, and he went to Dubuque. Well, University of Dubuque is in Dubuque, Iowa, and that's just a small school in a small area, and you know, it's definitely interesting. I mean, just within the two that we've had today so far, we've learned a lot, and we've found out a lot personally, and definitely had a lot to help. But yes, So with that being said, there he is.
My bad. I don't know what happened with the Wi-Fi over here.
Oh, you're good.
Okay.
So you were talking about like the difference between like Division 3 and all that.
Yeah, so I think even in Division 3, I was playing with a lot of guys who I thought could have went to any Division 2 and played and did it at a very high level. So kind of going through that transition from offense to defense, it was, I'm going against really good guys who, can run routes, catch the ball very well, guys who could throw the ball very well and things like that
Mm-hmm.
first. But, I was able to have a lot of great teammates who helped me progress on the defensive side of the ball and giving me little tips and stuff like that. And then the rest is just, the after hours, what people don't see and how hard you're working when people don't look and aren't looking. And it really helped me in the long run with, trying to perfect my craft. And, I still got a long way to go, but I think that's a very positive thing. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and which means when I get to the level I want to reach, I think it's going to be a very scary thing.
Definitely. I mean, everything I've looked at about you, I'm sure you can say this about a lot of guys, so it's probably not, super special, but I mean, you've played 5 different positions. Who
Yeah.
else can say they've done that?
Yeah. I
Not
was
very
actually
many people.
at Carthage, I'm the only player in their program history to have a rushing, catching, throwing, and defensive touchdown. Um, so I'm very happy about. I had to I had to go through a lot of ups and downs to reach that, and I didn't do it on myself. A lot of it is because of my teammates and the guys I had around me to achieve that.
Mm-hmm. So so I just want to say that Jalen Dennis is a great guy. He was an awesome player in college, and I do appreciate him coming on, even though we've had a few glitches and struggles. Um, things happen. Um, I appreciate both the guys for coming on today, and I look forward to continuing doing player interviews, and hopefully everyone likes the interviews, and we look forward to keep chugging along here at Buckeye Mike with the interviews, and I'll see you around for the next one. Maybe if we can get things situated with Jalen, we can have him come back on. But best of luck to both guys today, and look forward to hopefully watching you at some point in the future, maybe in the big leagues on the screen. So good luck, everyone. Enjoy, and hope everyone has a blessed day. Thank you, and we'll see you next time.